G'day there guys, it's your Aussie Hubby Markee, back at it again with another episode of r/Am I the A-hole? Now with that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn in the barbie, and get ready to tell me who you think the a-hole is in all of these stories. Posted by username 0744, titled, Am I the a-hole for calling out my sister after she bought my daughter a food scale? Just for some background, my family is a bit larger. We are all pretty healthy people, but we are not naturally thin. Both of my parents are bigger, I'm a bit bigger, and growing up my sister was too. Now, my sister works hard to fight being a bigger. She eats like a rabbit and does pretty crazy workouts. People tend to look up to her for keeping her weight down and getting healthy. But from my perspective, she is constantly stressing herself out to maintain this appearance with all of the running, etc. My daughter turned 14 a couple months ago, and has been expressing distaste about her body for a while. She's a bit chubby like myself. It makes me sad, but I'm trying to teach her to love herself for who she is. I know that my words haven't gotten through to her, as she has been going to my sister for advice. First was the at-home exercises and running. It is difficult to watch her beat herself up with these exercises. She claims to enjoy them, but I'm sure she wouldn't do them if she didn't want to be skinny like my sister. Then she started regularly complaining about the food that I prepare. I'm not a huge vegetable person, and neither is anybody else in our family. I'm not going to waste my money on it. It has led to many arguments between us. The final straw was when I opened up a package that turned out to be a food scale for my daughter. My sister bought it for her. My daughter told me that since I will continue to make her unhealthy food, her aunt told her to weigh it out so she doesn't eat too much. I immediately confronted my sister about it. She is trying to push her lifestyle habits onto my daughter. I'm trying to teach her to love herself, not spend mental energy fighting biology. She tried to blame me for making my daughter unhealthy in the first place. She claims to be trying to help. Just because my daughter can't run a mile and do the difficult exercises she does to maintain her weight, doesn't mean she's not healthy. I hung up with my sister and went to post to Facebook about her buying my daughter a scale and encouraging her to weigh her food. People look up to her, and I think everyone should know that she pushes young women to hate their bodies. My post received a lot of criticism, and some people even think I'm an a-hole for trying to tarnish my sister's image and for refusing to let my daughter try to lose weight. From my perspective, I'm just trying to spread awareness about what she's doing. Someone recommended that I post here. Am I the a-hole for telling everyone that my sister got my daughter a food scale, or is she for getting her one in the first place? Just to respond to everyone, we are not obese. We're just a bit tall and a bit chubby. Maybe a little bit overweight. We may not run and stuff, but we do other activities that we enjoy, like gardening, swimming, walking, etc. You don't need to be able to run to be healthy. This just sounds like satire, this whole post. You're the a-hole. Jesus Christ, prepare a vegetable. You're a mother. Act like a mother. Don't use your daughter's body to push agenda that makes you feel better. Also, I don't buy it for a second that you guys are naturally chunky when you refuse to waste money on vegetables. I cannot even imagine refusing to let a child eat vegetables. Also, running is not torture, and it's not just to lose weight. I run because it gives me more energy and I like doing it. Millions of people do it as a hobby. Let her do healthy things, you're the a-hole. Opie's daughter can barely exercise or run a mile. Poor kiddo. Those are basics that make childhood fun. I was always overweight as a child, and my mom was really susceptible to pseudoscience. I gained weight because I wasn't eating enough, obviously. Haven't you heard of starvation mode? Lamau, it can't be that I was eating already 3 times too much, but even in her naivety, she at least tried to help me. OP is so horrible to her daughter, I'm pretty sure what she's doing is abuse. You don't get to weigh in. Your daughter is trying to improve her health, her mobility, and her quality of life. She is certainly being more mature about her weight issues than you are. I remember 150 pounds ago when I was not a vegetable person. It's a flabby excuse for rolling over and giving up on yourself. You should be happy your daughter isn't following in your footsteps. You're the a-hole. Edit. Thanks for all the recipe ideas. Keep 'em coming both for me and for everyone trying to eat better. And thanks for working on yourselves too. Together we can make a happier, healthier world. As a person trying to lose weight who hates vegetables, do you have any suggestion on how to make them easier to get down? Right now, I'm doing vitamins and trying to mix in veggies with other things, but I can't get over certain tastes or consistency. For me, it was all about the preparation. When you treat vegetables like an afterthought and toss them in the microwave or boil them into a paste, of course they're going to taste bad. I used to hate squash and sweet potatoes, until I stopped microwaving them like my folks used to and discovered the power of roasting things. It's all in the prep. If you prep veggies in the styles that you like other foods, example, if you like roasted chicken, try roasting veggies. You may realize that you don't hate the taste as much as you think. Back to squash, bane of my childhood. Turns out squash and apple soup is a bowl full of autumn that I can't get enough of. Vegetarians have been at this for decades, and they are damn good at making a vegetable sing. I learned a lot from a vegetarian resources, and now I don't bother buying meat at all because I can get deep flavors for cheap out of produce. Even if you have no interest in going veggie, I didn't at first, and I still don't think I'm a vegetarian because I'd still cave in front of a plate of Nashville hot chicken. Looking into vegetarian iterations of your favorite foods and preparing veggie as you like to prepare other things did wonders for me. Good luck, and good on you for taking a challenge on. Posted by user AnonAhole2, titled, Am I the a-hole for calling out of work? Since my last post got so much activity and my husband agrees with me, I want to know if you think I'm the a-hole here. I planned my first ultrasound for a Wednesday last week, and it was amazing. We got to hear our baby's heartbeat, and we will never forget that moment. Unfortunately, I had to call off work to take the whole day off and be able to see my baby. A co-worker of mine's wife was having some pretty minor surgery, and so I got overruled on the calendar for the day off because his was more important. My boss said I could just use my ultrasound as my lunch hour, but I wanted to take the day to embrace that first connection as a family. So I called out of work that day, and apparently it left us very short staff and unable to perform surgeries until my co-worker had left his wife resting at home and came in. My husband agrees that we aren't a-holes, that we deserve to bask in that bliss, but my whole office is angry with me and said it's definitely an a-hole move. Nobody told my co-worker he was being forced to come in, he volunteered. But tell me, Reddit, am I the a-hole? Edit to add that we are vet techs, in case that helps. You're the a-hole. You think that basking in the bliss of your ultrasound is more important than your co-worker supporting his wife through surgery, so instead you just dumped everything on your co-workers and screwed up the schedule for the veterinary practice's surgeries, which will have affected all of the patients and their owners. God, you're lucky you're pregnant, because it makes it harder to fire you, and that is the kind of crap you deserve to get fired for. Edit, holy hell, I've just realized you're the same a-hole who said her sister isn't a real mother because she didn't give birth to her kid. Are you trying to win an award for being the worst person on the internet today? Yeah, unbelievable. She needs to just stop at this point because she's making herself look worse and worse. I shudder at what nonsense her third post will spew. You're the a-hole solidly now. You expected someone to reschedule surgery so that you could bask in the glory of an ultrasound all day. Coming from a pregnant woman, you're an a-hole, troll, and reading your other post, potentially just an awful person. It just occurred to me, I think this woman might be getting off on having us call her an a-hole. I mean, read the top of her post. Sounds like a little twisted. Are we feeding the troll? Yeah, this one sounds like a troll. I mean, that last story she posted was absolutely terrible, and it kind of sounded fantasy, so I think we're feeding the delusion here. Next story. Posted by user SpoiledKid9001, titled, Am I the a-hole for giving my son a better life and spoiling him more than his siblings will ever get to be? Brief background. About 9.5 years ago, my wife cheated on me, got pregnant, and left me for him. Courts gave them custody of our son because single dad versus family. I've since gotten remarried and had a couple of kids, 7 and 5.5. Ex and her new man have also had 2 more kids. Wife and I now both work as engineers and have damn good salaries, to put it lightly. Ex and new husband haven't ever done particularly well. Ex-wife didn't want me sending my son lavish gifts or taking him on the family vacations, so her other siblings wouldn't get too jealous and build resentments towards him. Her words. Meanwhile, he was understandably, I feel, upset. He wasn't getting as nice a life as my other kids were as he got older. He asked to come live with me. I said yes, I'd love to have him. Ex-wife said no. Thank God the court sided with what my son wanted. Since moving in, everything has gone fairly smoothly for us. My younger kids love having their big brother around all the time, and he loves them. We still go on our vacations every January, though had I known how bad Rona was back then, I'd probably have held off this year. For his 16th birthday, he got a nice used Buick that he wanted. Since then, crap's hit the fan with his mum and my ex though. She was ticked how much he's getting and getting to do. Keeps texting and calling both of us about how his younger siblings will never be able to get all he has, and it's not fair, and now her kids are upset, and how I'm a horrible dad for forcing his siblings to resent us. I finally told her I don't care. I want my kids to have a good life, and if she wants an adulterer, hers would have a better life too. Did I go too far there? Not the a-hole. They're not your kids, and no one is forcing them to be resentful except her. Keep being a good dad to all your kids and don't worry about it. Imagine how much resentment the boy would build up if OP gave in and treated him to less than his other kids. The son would resent his paternal half-siblings for getting more than him, and his mother for demanding it, his father for giving in, and his maternal half-siblings for being the root of the problem. And all of that so the ex's precious babies don't feel bad because they don't get as much as OP's son. Exactly. This is exactly what would happen, and this guy is 100% not the a-hole. My older brother just closed on his first house. I'm really happy for him, but it's pretty unlikely with where I live, and what I do, that I'll be able to do the same by the time I'm his age. I just won't be able to have the same life he has. This doesn't mean that the solution is for him to give up on his house dreams. You don't create equality by forcing people to have less so others don't feel bad. Everyone ends up worse off that way. If you feel bad, you can create more good by thinking of little things he can share with the rest of his family. Maybe a video game he can play with everyone else, or nice snacks that he can share. Or you can do nothing at all. It isn't your job to keep the other kids from envying your son, it's your ex-wife's job to teach her kids that they can have more too by working hard and getting good jobs, not the a-hole. I love this. It's not about what hand you're dealt, it's about what you do with it. OP is the dealer, Mum is the teacher. OP can be a teacher too, and this is a great example of how. OP would not be an a-hole for not doing this, but it's a nice idea. Posted by user Throwaway9421, titled, Am I the a-hole for asking my daughter to make me whipped coffee? I, male 58, have a daughter, 23 female, who is currently living with me. She was staying at her mum's for the past 2 months due to the global events, but now that is not as severe, I insisted that she come back and stay with me because I missed her, and I have this big house to myself. She moved back last week. My daughter is a law student and just started a summer job at a firm, doing remote work. So she locks herself in her room for hours at a time and only comes out to eat or go to the store for groceries. Yesterday, on Sunday, I was chatting with her about the new coffee trend, whipped coffee. You've probably seen it. She said she had made some weeks ago for her and her mum after seeing it online. I asked her if she could make some for me, and she said sure. Maybe this week when she finished most of her work. Well, today, on Monday, I woke up and waited for the whipped coffee, but my daughter never came out of her room. I waited until like 11 AM, and then I went into her room and asked her where my coffee was. She snapped at me that she was in a training session for her new job and that her microphone was on because she was about to ask a question, so everyone heard me come in. I waited until she asked her question, muted herself, and then I asked her about the coffee again. She said she was busy and that she would make some later. I said I drank my coffee in the morning and that I had been waiting patiently. She then copped a major attitude with me and told me that I was interrupting her work. I told her to lose the attitude and learn to prioritize her promises to people. She then got exasperated and basically yelled at me to get out of her room. I did, and I texted her a little while ago that her and I need to have a major conversation about attitude, considering I don't ask her for rent and I'm fine with her working summers only. She hasn't responded. I get that people may think I was harsh on her, but my daughter and I have a rocky relationship, and I was hoping that we could bond over making some of this delicious whipped coffee I had been seeing everywhere. She made it for her mum, so I know she can do it. I made myself French press coffee, but I really wanted to try the whipped coffee. Am I the a-hole for asking her to make me one when she said that she would? This just sounds so fake. No normal person writes this, but I'm gonna read the comments anyway. You're the a-hole. This cannot be real. You casually asked if she would make you coffee, and she casually responded, maybe. She did not promise you anything, and your desire to have a stupid whipped coffee is not more important than her law work. Jesus Christ, dude. Lol, she said maybe this week after I finished my work, and he just sat down on a Monday morning waiting for his coffee. Not sure how OP's job is, but I generally haven't finished my work for the week by Monday morning. Is this for real? So you basically strong-armed her into coming to live with you, then pat yourself on the back for not charging her rent? You interrupt her at work because you're whining that you don't have coffee? Google the damn recipe and make it yourself. You're a grown-ass man, not a child. You don't bond with someone by being a petulant whiner, forcing them to do things while embarrassing them at work. You're the a-hole. Also, a fun part was when he was like, I'm okay with her only working summers. Like, buddy, do you know how law school works? Of course she only works summers. You're the a-hole. Posted by user Northern Lights UP. Titled, Am I the a-hole for spending the day on a call on my girlfriend's birthday? So my best friend moved to the UK 5 years ago for studies and work. Since we hadn't seen each other for a while, last year he said he was going to come over, meet up with our old friendship group, which is 5 guys in total, and we would go on a young guys trip before he returned to the UK. I met my girlfriend earlier this year, and her birthday coincidentally falls on the same day as the guy trip was supposed to start. For obvious reasons, he can't come anymore and just decided to do a group video call, catch up, then play games online. Yesterday was the day, so I woke up early and made my girlfriend breakfast in bed, gave the gift, and watched a movie with her. When the time came, I asked my girlfriend if she was okay with this, and she said it was fine, so I did it. It was a lot of fun catching up with the guys and playing against a bunch of random people online together. The call ended at around 9, and I went back to the bedroom to chill with my girlfriend, but she was already asleep, so I went to bed as well. This morning though, she was extremely cold, and didn't want to talk until I pushed it out of her. She says I was being an a-hole for ignoring her on her big day, even though she said it was fine. Besides that, the plans were set before we started dating, and I would have missed the whole thing. But at least this way I had the time to make her feel special in the morning. Am I the a-hole? I'm leaning towards you're the a-hole, because let's be real here. An all-day call was probably not what she was expecting, and breakfast is a piddly freaking expenditure of time and effort. You should have bailed on the call in time to spend some of her birthday with her, and at least have dinner. This was a failure in communication and expectation. When she said she was fine with the call, I imagined she thought it would last a couple of hours, not all day. Besides, if it was all decided a while ago, why not tell her sooner and maybe decide on another day to celebrate either properly with her or spend a day with friends? You're the a-hole. You could have done a telehangout any time. Now, if you had met in person, then sure, that's acceptable. But a video call all day on her birthday? Yeah, you're the a-hole. If they're still strictly quarantining, it means she kinda spent the day alone, hearing him laughing for 8 hours in the next room, waiting for it to end. But it never ends. So it must have been a very lonely day for her. God, that's horrible. I would have spent half the day crying if I spent my birthday waiting for my boyfriend to spend time with me, but felt like I couldn't interrupt his spontaneous friendship time. Imagine feeling like you're not a priority even on your birthday. I wonder if this is isolated. Definitely not. I've heard of much worse than this happening, even in like normal functioning relationships. Some young men are so blind and stupid. That's not to say that I'm not, but it's just baffling. Posted by user RXRRR, titled, "Am I the a-hole for calling my fiance's relationship with her brother unhealthy?" Our fight began because of her brother. He's 3 years older than her. The first issue I noticed is the random presents he sends her for no reason at all. It's not her birthday, it isn't a holiday. For example, just last week, he told her to be on the lookout in the mail for some pea coat that he bought her. He sent her a link, which she didn't bother to check. But I did, and I saw that it's a $500 present. Then I noticed that he sends her a gift card to fast food places and restaurants at random too. Before quarantine, we'd go out and eat, and she'd pull out some gift card and cover the bill. This admittedly hurt my ego, especially on date nights. It felt like her brother was funding our dates. I've actually spoken to his wife about it. Let's call her Jennifer. Jennifer told me that she found it a bit strange at first too, but that she doesn't see anything wrong with it now. She says that it's because they're extremely family-oriented. Jennifer says that her husband still sees my fiancé like the little girl who used to follow him around. But I still felt dejected even after speaking with Jennifer. I feel like I can't compete with him. My fiancé and I live together, but because we're both students, we don't have that much free cash to spend on things we don't need. So on her birthday, I feel even worse as I'll buy her something small, but her brother goes out and buys her something expensive. Everywhere I look in our apartment, there is something from him. The expensive headphones, the expensive clothes. I confronted her not too long ago about it. She was baffled and then got angry. I brought up the gift cards and she scolded me for it. She claims that when she was a teenager/undergraduate, she'd get so stressed out that she'd forget to eat. And that it was her brother who went out of his way to make sure she'd eaten that day. She doesn't understand why it bothers me because we're getting free food. Then I brought up the random gifts, and she got angrier and asked me, why do I care so much about how her brother spends his money? Apparently he's a rising star in his company and has been getting salary raises like crazy. Another thing she felt the need to shove in my face. I told her that her relationship with her brother isn't normal. This is where crap hits the fan. She disinvited me from his birthday in late June. She told me to sort out my issues, and then maybe I could come. I told her she was being unreasonable, and this is when she tells me that maybe we should wait longer till we get married. Ooh. Our original plan was to start planning our wedding as soon as the whole coronavirus situation passed, but now she's dangling our marriage above my head. She says that if I can't accept her family, then she doesn't think we're going to work out. I think she's being insane for doing this just because of her brother. She says that this isn't about her brother. Edit. I should mention that while he showers my fiancé with expensive gifts, he refused to help out his younger brother who was about to go homeless. Ooh, that's saucy. You're the a-hole. She's not dangling your marriage, she is genuinely worried about marrying you, as she should be. You're the a-hole. Your fiancé, maybe ex soon, sounds rad. How awesome that she comes from a family that shares resources and cares about each other. If only we could all be so lucky to have a sibling who cares enough to send gift cards so that we eat. You need to seek some counseling about either family issues and/or insecurity. You will be lucky if you end up joining this family. You're the a-hole. I get my sister random presents all the time, and it's because I love her, not to undermine her boyfriend's self-esteem. Until today, I wasn't even aware someone could take it in the wrong way. Also, look up love languages. Some people show love through gifts. I do to some extent. You're the a-hole. This is coming off like you're intimidated by your fiancé's older brother. You seem jealous too, and like you're trying to compete with her brother. He probably just loves her and wants to do nice things for her. She's his little sister. I don't see anything wrong with their relationship from what you've described. I can see why she's having second thoughts about the marriage too, because it seems like you want to ruin her relationship with her brother. I think it's more that OP feels as though he can't give his girlfriend as much as he'd like to, and having her brother shower her with gifts keeps reminding him of that. And yeah, that's totally fine to feel, but he should be dealing with those feelings. The problem here is his insecurity, not his girlfriend's relationship with her brother. Yeah, absolutely OP is the a-hole in this situation. That's not okay. Just because someone else can shower you with gifts, why are you letting your insecurities get in the way of you? You show such a weak mentality complaining about that. If I can't help you, no one else can. Grrr. Stupid. Toxic. Get him out of here. Posted by user 464839337. Titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my wife that I think that my sister is more talented than her? What? See what I mean? How stupid are some people? So, my wife and I have been arguing about this for over a week, and I feel bad for hurting her feelings, but I'm not sure I'm in the wrong here. My wife, 25, does art and graphic design. My 19-year-old sister also does art. My best friend hit me up and told me that he had talked to my wife about doing some artwork and posters for his band. He liked some of her stuff on Instagram and thought it would be cool to hire someone local. His band has a pretty decent following, they tour, etc. He was expressing some frustration to me about the collaboration between he and my wife. He didn't insult her, but he wasn't happy with the results and didn't know how to talk to her about it. After chatting with him for a bit though, and getting a feel about what his new music was about, I started talking up my sister and her work. It's a bit more creative, raw, etc. More what he was looking for. He was excited to work with her after I showed him some of her stuff. She's a fan of his music. I set them up, and he is paying her a decent amount of money, along with giving her some good exposure. I told him that I would talk to my wife about her being off the project for him, and he still paid her for the work that she did. Then I talked to my wife about her being off the project, and she got upset. I told her that my friend had no hard feelings, and just wanted a different art style. She ended up talking to my friend about it, and he told my wife that I recommended my sister to him, and he really liked her style. He thought that what they were coming up with was a better fit. My wife got super upset with me upon hearing that I recommended my sister over her. She called me unsupportive and accused me of trying to sabotage her so that she doesn't get more exposure. I tried to make her understand that her collaboration with my friend wasn't working out anyways, and I was just trying to secure a very good opportunity for my sister, who I know is extremely talented and could do the job. She says that I should have tried to mend the issues so that she could still complete the project and drive more traffic to her. I told her that the problem was an issue of style. He didn't want such commercial-looking art, he wanted something more creative like my sister was offering. This made her more angry. She accused me of calling her uncreative and undeserving of the opportunity. I said that I thought that the opportunity should go to a talented person that is a good fit. She said, "So your sister's more talented than me?" Trying to continue the argument. I said, "You know what? Yes." And my wife has been sleeping in the guest room ever since. Jeez, those are fighting words. I've tried to talk to my family about this, but everyone seems pretty split about whether or not I'm in the wrong here. I know it may hurt her feelings, but I do think my sister is more talented. Am I the a-hole for saying it out loud? You're the a-hole. Mostly for the shocked Pikachu face you likely made after you said that. How did you expect that to be received? First off, you went behind your wife's back to benefit your friend. That was the first a-hole moment. The second he was complaining about your wife's craft, you should have shut it down and let him know that you're not your wife's agent/customer service/mediator/nothing. You're her husband, and if he has a work issue, take it up with management. Second, you aren't your sister's agent, customer service, and talent scout, and even if you were, how dare you do it to the detriment of your wife? Third, if your friend who says your wife's work just doesn't mesh wasn't aware what type of work your wife produces, is that the fault of your wife? No, it's his failure. He should have reached out to her and expressed his concerns, not you. Fourth, maybe your wife would be as talented if she got the same level of support and appreciation that you have for your sister. Hopefully that stings you a bit and makes you go give the apology you should have already given by now. Spot on. Although it does sound like the wife is talented, but perhaps not as good of a fit for this project. This is where I'm conflicted. Yes, he and his wife should be a team who have each other's backs, but also people value friends and family different, and it's obvious OP has them on a similar level. On one hand, yes, he should not tolerate bad-mouthing of any kind when it comes to his wife. He should have tried harder to shine her in a better light, talk to her about trying a different style and such, since it would be great to help her work to be more versatile. But on the other hand, his friend should have expressed his displeasure with his client, not his client's partner. So that's not really on OP, and I can't really fault him for promoting his sister. His wife already has a business and probably has loyal and repeat customers, whereas his younger sister is barely starting out, and he's just looking out for her, and it seems like the friend and sister really do get along better and have a better work relationship than his wife. However, what makes him the extreme a-hole is the line, "For argument's sake, I said, you know what? Yes." He admits to saying it purely to keep the argument going. Not even in the heat of the moment, in which I could kind of give him a pass, because extreme emotions and all that. But, outright because I wanted to hurt my wife. Yeah, that's a dick move. If he had said, "I'm so sorry, honey, I wasn't thinking." He explained an art style that sounded exactly like my sister, and I just blurted it out. And the next thing I knew, I had already given him her contact information with the mindset of helping out my friend instead of the mindset of backing up my wife, and not said his sister was a better artist, then he wouldn't be the arse. I could even excuse "she's better than you in this specific style" if not said for that sake of the argument. Jesus, who feels like they're in a debating class after this? I think everything that should have been said has been said by now, so I'm gonna pass you guys to outro Markee. I want to know what you guys think of these ones though. Who's the a-hole here? Alright guys, that's all for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to tell me what you thought about it down in the comments down below. If you're new to the channel also, don't forget to subscribe. It would really help out with my channel growth. And also, a huge shout out to my channel patrons and members. I just love you guys and thank you for supporting me on this journey. If you guys are new to the channel and you'd like to support me, links are down below for the Patreon, or you can click the join button next to subscribe if you'd like to become a channel member. Alright guys, that's all for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.